Hello, and welcome to our 16th session of the Light Body Manifestation Program. I'm Mercedes Kirkel, the facilitator for this program, and welcome back. And today we are focusing on the double serpent activation, which I'm really excited about. But before we get into that, I want to start with celebrations and mornings and just checking in and seeing what's happening. Right now, we only have one person with us, so this might be a shorter check-in than usual. We'll see if more people join in. A few people have contacted me and told me that for one reason or another, they have a conflict tonight. So we probably are going to have a smaller group. So, checking in. And Joy, would you like to check in about what's happening for you this week? And just as a refresher, we've been still focusing on the inner temple of the heart, and you were at choice about whether you wanted to connect with your higher self or do more connecting with other people and their higher self through the inner temple of the heart. So checking in about that, or anything else related to the course that you're noticing over the course of the week.
Great. Yeah, so I did continue with the meditations, checking in with the heart and going into inner temple and trying to connect to my higher self. Right now, it's more just a practice rather than I feel like I really am connecting, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I am right now. But I'm going to share. It's just sort of interesting. Sometimes it's nice to get validation. So I see an energy worker from time to time, and I saw her today, and it was really nice just kind of getting some validation. She really felt like I was much more connected into my feet and much more kind of in myself, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I really think that is a result of doing these practices. So that was kind of nice. Just it's a little celebration there, just a little outside validation.
Oh yeah, that's always valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thanks.
And I would love to hear if you're open to it. Just anything more you can share about what you do experience when you do the course.
So, well, I don't know if this is answering your question, so this will be a roundabout way. So yesterday I took a friend back to a hospital for a check-in, and then when I came home, I just really felt like I needed something to replenish myself. So I went outside, and I've been doing a little practice of sleeping outside, and it was just interesting because I really felt like I was getting so much energy from Father, it was really from Father Sky, just from the stars. Does that make sense? And
yes.
Yeah, and actually that was sort of verified today too during my energy session. Apparently the top chakra was just way out there. And so, yeah, so I definitely could feel that. And yeah, so anyways, but at the same time I was doing, kind of trying to do the meditation as well. So connecting to Mother Earth and the Father Sky, Divine Child, and the inner heart. So yeah, and then I've just been doing a lot of work outside, so I really feel more, just a real earth connection. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Have you been doing the part of going into the heart and?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in the inner temple.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So hi and welcome, Jen and Rajinder. Glad you're here. We have a smaller class tonight. Maria is in Europe and it was too late for her to attend the class. And similarly, Ava was too tired tonight to get up in the middle of the night and she's not attending. And Michelle is at another workshop. So we have a small group, cozy group tonight. So we were just doing our check-ins, celebrations and mornings about you've been experiencing this week, and in particular, anything related to going into the inner temple of the heart, connecting with your higher self, possibly if you did this, connecting with other beings and their higher self through the inner temple of the heart, or anything else that you have been noticing related to this work. So I'd love to hear from you.
Well, hi. I feel a bit disconnected, both to the group and to a little bit to the whole practice, just because I was out last week, and I'm glad I made it today, but I haven't done much practicing, and I've had a very difficult 2 weeks. Yet I do want to say that I have called on my angels quite a bit in the last 2 weeks, and done kind of shortened versions of the meditation, more than anything really to ground myself and to be able to get through these 2 weeks just with what's happening, more so in just what's happening at my work life. And I think that's helped me to be able to make, I don't know, more than anything, just to be grounded and make good decisions. So, but I don't have much else to share other than I'm very happy that I'm sitting here with all of you, and I'm in a house by myself. And so just even having a moment with all of you is I'm cherishing. So.
Oh. Thank you. I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome back. And I just want to ask, do you have a sense that you are accessing the inner temple of the heart?
The time that I remembered having that experience was the 2 week ago meditation, where, and I think I shared this, and that I think it was the time 2 weeks ago that I had shared this feeling of, and I believe you commented on it, this feeling of this the smallest of the small and the vastest of the vast, and it was it was just this, it was an amazing feeling and very unique. And I can clearly remember kind of visually, if I close my eyes, this feeling of going down into the into that heart space, but that the inner temple, that I actually had to go up. It was like an ascension from there, and then so I feel like I got there that time. The shortened kind of meditations that I've done for the last couple of weeks, I haven't had that same feeling. And
there can be a trap with experiences where you identify the process within a particular experience. So
that makes sense.
It may be that you won't necessarily have that experience again. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that you're not doing the process and going into, in this case, the inner temple of the heart.
The one thing that helped was that when we did that sound vibration, that and so a few times this week, even kind of humming that sound and kind of recognizing that sound of the sacred part of the heart, and having that helped, using the sound for me. it was kind of like an expressway.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like a
little short.
a little shortcut. And yeah, so I think that sound I just was one of my ways to get there a little faster, I guess. And
Excellent.
third dimensional faster, right? Whatever that means.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I really want to underscore this because I think it's really important that experiences are wonderful. They can be wonderful gifts. They can be helpers, supports in various ways. And sometimes we can think if we're not having the experience that it's not working. And that can be a real detour because it might absolutely be working and you're not having that particular experience. So that's a real thing to be careful of, not falling into identifying the process with the experiences that you have with it, that they're different things. Thank you. So hi, Rajender.
How are you? Okay, so can you hear me okay?
I can.
All right. I had really powerful in the heart experience over the past, over the weekend, and really got the message of deep acceptance and love. And it was really kind of, it was lingering, that kind of space. And then I went to work yesterday and talk about like disjointed. It was really weird. So I'm a little, now feeling a little, how to live in this 3D world with a 4D consciousness, with deep acceptance and love, when everything we do requires judgment and discernment, and it's, it's hard. I'm struggling now. So anyway, that's where it is.
Yes, thank you. And if we have some time at the end, maybe we can work with that a little bit more.
Okay.
Because definitely this is part of adapting to this whole process, that we are getting refined and sensitized, and subtler, dealing at a subtler energy field and space, and integrating that with living in the 3D world is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I believe all of these practices will only help, but there can be a transitional time where it can even be painful to go from one, thing that feels so exquisite and then something else that feels so difficult. And how do I, hold both of these and integrate them?
Right. Thank you.
Yes. And I also want to say I have gone through a very hard time in the past 2 to 3 weeks. For me, it's really been showing up as health problems. I've had my chronic health problems that I deal with are migraine headaches, and I have back issues. And they have been in full blossom. And I have been having a really difficult time health-wise. And then that's triggered emotional challenges. Last night I was feeling so lonely and just like all alone in the universe. And I've been hearing from other people about them going through hard times too. And I have a sense that this might be one of those times where there may very well be larger energy fields affecting us, and that many people are going through a hard time right now. And it doesn't negate what anyone's going through or the personal way it shows up for any one person. But I think it feels supportive to me to know when I have a sense of this is bigger than just me, because it can feel like, what's going on? And if you don't know that other people are going through something, you can really fall into, what's the matter with me that I'm having such a hard time?
Right. I was wondering, I'm like, well, the full moon was before, so what's happening? Because it's usually aggravated by,
Yeah, and
moon or something.
people in the medical professions are very aware of the moon. I know that because you see it in the medical field. And it's not always the full moon. There can be, other things. There can be solar flares, or there can be astrology influences or whatever. So we are affected by Father Sky and Mother Earth both. And there can be all kinds of influences, and we're becoming more sensitive to that too as we attune ourselves to the Father Sky, Mother Earth energy. It's very natural that one aspect of that is that we become more sensitized to those kinds of energies that are going on in those dimensions that maybe we weren't as sensitive to before. So there can be lots of things going on. Okay, so what I want to do, unless anybody has anything else, I want to turn to our topic for tonight and talk about it a little bit. And let me call up my slides here, because I have a picture that I want to show you. And just out of curiosity, how many of you have read Sublime Union?
Yeah.
Okay, was that 2, 3? I wasn't sure. So this process is right out of Sublime Union. It's one of the ones that Mary Magdalene introduced and taught and talked about to me in that process that I was going through relative to sacred sexuality. And it is an important aspect of the sacred sexuality process in the Egyptian tradition. But it's not only used for sacred sexuality, and we're going to be starting to use it today as just part of developing our energy body and strengthening ourselves at the energy level. So this is called the double serpent practice, and we're going to be doing an activation of our double serpents. Okay, I'm going to go back to trying to find my slides here because I never got there. I got distracted by what I was saying. So let me try again here. Oh, I know what I need to do. Okay, just a moment. Sorry, I'm not quite as organized as I thought I was here, but I will get there. Okay, so now let's see if we can do this. All right, so here we are. These were our celebrations and mornings. This is what we are focusing on today, our double serpent activation. See if I can make this a little bit smaller here. The screen sharing. And this is an image that you may remember from the book, which is the pathway of the double serpents. And first way of all, I want to orient you. This is looking at a person from behind. And the reason we did this in creating this image was so that it's not a mirror image. It's actually the same way you would be experiencing it in your body. So the person in this image is facing the same way you are when you're looking at the image. I hope that makes sense. Because I think that makes it a lot easier as far as using the image to help us as we do this practice. So I want to go to my notes and say a few things about this. Basically, what we're doing is we're doing a Kundalini activation. And these double serpents are part of the Kundalini energy. If you're familiar with that word, that's an Indian term. In the Egyptian tradition, it's referred to as, I'm forgetting in this moment. I want to say Jed, D-J-E-D. But I'm not sure if I am confusing that with something else. So I'm forgetting the Egyptian term, but there's another term for the same thing, this energy that runs through the chakras and through our central channel, which is right along the spine. And but most people are most familiar with the Indian term for it of Kundalini. And in the Indian tradition, when we're working with these two different energy flows on either side, they're referred in the Indian tradition as the Ida and the Pingala. But I refer to them as I have learned it in the Egyptian tradition as the double serpents. But it's the same energy that we're working with. And traditionally, most people, when they're learning about Kundalini or talking about Kundalini, the Kundalini is the energy that they talk about it as the serpent energy that's coiled at the base of the spine in the root chakra, and then it rises up the central channel up to the crown. And what's different about the way that we're working with it is that we're not working with it in the central channel. The central channel would be a straight line that would run right in between these crossing serpent pathways. So it would be right along here. And when the Kundalini, when people have a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, that's, I think, oftentimes what they experience is this feeling of energy rising up the spine. And it would generally be up the central channel of the spine. But we're working with it in this pathway that goes on either side of that central channel. And one of the reasons for working with it in this way is that I believe that it's much safer. It's a much safer way. If you are familiar with anything about the Kundalini when it awakens or raising the Kundalini, in spirituality, you'll see a lot of warnings about the Kundalini being a potentially that there can be dangers to it. It's a very strong energy, and it can be imbalancing for people, or can even, sometimes people experience, physical reactions, emotional reactions, energetic reactions, or even mental reactions to the Kundalini rising. I believe that when we are opening to the Kundalini and raising the Kundalini in this way through the double serpents, it's a very safe way because of the balance between the two serpents and the pathway with it crossing at each of the chakras. And so that's part of it. And the other part is that we're going to be doing a process where we start at the root and we're going to raise the energy up to, not to the crown, but to the sixth chakra right here in the center of the head, the pineal chakra. And then we're going to bring that energy back down into the heart. And this is another reason why the way that we're working with it, in my opinion, is much safer and much more balanced. The heart is at the center of our energy system. There's 3 chakras below, 3 chakras above in the heart, and we have done a lot of work for opening our 3 chakras below, which is another very stabilizing factor. And then we've done this work that we've just done the last few weeks with opening to our heart, the sacred space of the heart, the inner temple of the heart, and then bringing this energy down into the heart is, I believe, another factor that makes it very balanced and very safe for us to do that. So that is why I have waited until this point to introduce this, because now I believe that everyone has the different aspects of their energy body prepared, and to do this in this way that will be safe. So that is why I introduce it at this point. So let me talk a little bit about what we're looking at here. These 2 pathways, there's one pathway right here. Can everyone see my cursor as I'm moving it along? Do you see my cursor? Okay, great. So this one is the feminine pathway. that is the darker serpent. Some people see it as black, some people see it as silvery, but it's darker than the other one. I myself tend to see it as black, and I associate it with the black of the moon, the new moon. This serpent over here is the masculine pathway. And this one, most people see as either white or as a kind of luminescent golden. So or something in between, a whitish golden luminescent kind of color. So in doing this process, we're raising a balanced energy between the feminine and the masculine side. And so what we do is we start at the base, and we start with raising the serpents, and where they cross is each of the chakras. So this first crossing here is our sacral chakra. The second crossing here is our solar plexus chakra. The third crossing is our heart. The fourth crossing is our throat chakra. And the fifth crossing is our third eye, or you could also call it the pineal chakra, either one. And when we get into the third module, which we're going to begin after our break in July, we'll be working much more with the pineal chakra and up in the head. But right now, we've been mostly, up till this point, working with the lower chakras and the heart. But all the chakras of the first 6 chakras are all represented here. What else was I going to say about this? I just had something, and I am not sure I remember it, but it will probably come back to me. So this is another aspect of how this is very balanced, is because we're balancing the feminine and masculine energies. Oh, I know what I was going to say. And when they cross, we begin with on the left side is our feminine serpent, and on the right side is our masculine. But then when they cross at the sacral chakra, they reverse sides. So then for this part of the pathway, the masculine is on the left and the feminine is on the right. Then at the solar plexus, they cross again. We're back to feminine on the left, masculine on the right. They cross at the heart. We get masculine on the left, feminine on the right, and then they cross one more time and come up here to the 6th chakra, where they stay on their sides, and there's a kind of bowing of the serpent heads. And I think this was the origin of where the heart symbol came from, where, you know, we see that heart shape, is because when they bow their heads at this point, it makes this heart shape at the very top, which reflects the heart here at the heart chakra. And that's where I think that heart shape came from. You can take that or leave that as you desire, but that's my belief. So, what else do I want to say about this? I want to say that when I do this process, when I start to envision and feel and sense my serpents starting from the root chakra, almost always they're reversed. And I can't tell you why. My current theory is that the masculine loves the feminine so much that the masculine always wants to be over on the side of the feminine. Again, you can take it or leave it. That's my theory about my serpents. But I have noticed this consistently, that whenever I tune in and start to do this process, it always seems like the masculine, the white gold one, is over on this left side and the feminine is over on this side. And so what I do when I am doing this is, if I see or sense that they're reversed, I just tell the masculine to get over on his side. And he listens and goes over here to his side. And then the feminine shows up right here for the beginning of the pathway. And what I have found through doing this, and I have been doing this for a number of years at this point, is that the easiest way in my experience, to do this is for the feminine to lead. So we're going to raise the serpents, but what I recommend is that you especially focus on what the feminine serpent is doing, the black, darker serpent. And then the masculine just follows right along. This is a tantric principle, that in Tantra, one of the principles is allowing the feminine to lead, and the masculine loves to follow the feminine. And I find this very true with the serpent energy. So that's what I recommend in doing this. So the other thing that we're going to do for our practice today of first activating them is we're going to use our hands and the energy of our hands, with our right hand being our active pole that's sending energy actively, and the left hand being the receptive pole that's receiving energy. So what we're going to do as we are raising our serpent energy is we're going to put our right hand at our root chakra. So if you're sitting at a chair, what I recommend is just, reaching down with your right hand like we did in our very first couple of sessions where we were touching our root chakra, and doing that again. But this time it's for, we're actually creating a circuit where we're sending energy through our right hand and receiving energy through our left hand. So the energy of your right hand at your root chakra is going to be for sending the energy. And then the left hand will first be on our second chakra, our sacral chakra, for receiving the energy of the double serpents moving up from the root to the sacral chakra. And then what we'll do is our left hand, the receptive hand, will move that from one chakra to the next as we're going higher and higher to the progression of the chakras until we're all the way at our sixth chakra.
So I have a quick question. So I'm assuming we're doing that on the front of our body. It's going to be difficult to do it on the back.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And please, I welcome all questions, because this is one of those things where if we were in person, I think it would be easier to be, for me to be demonstrating and doing this and you to be understanding, but it's a little abstract given that we're doing this, through the program. So please let me know any questions that you have. Any other questions while we're taking a quick break here? Okay, all righty. So what we are going to be doing is, and I'm going to be guiding you through this, we are going to be doing a guided meditation for activating our double serpent energy and our double serpent pathway, as you see it here reflected. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out, and I'm just telling you now so you'll have a sense. We're going to start out with our connecting with Mother Earth, Father Sky, and ourselves as Divine Child. From here on, that is the foundation for everything. Well, actually, at one point, we're going to modify that slightly, but for the time being, that is the foundation for everything. So we're going to start with that. And then what I'm going to have you do is go into this activation. So I'm going to have you place your right hand at your root chakra and your left hand at your sacral chakra to begin with. And then I'm going to have you visualize this first part of having the black or silver serpent on the left, the feminine, and if it's not on the left, doing what you need to do to reverse so it gets on the left, and the masculine on the right, the white or golden serpent, and them rising up and then meeting at the sacral chakra where they cross. And then we'll move our hand to the next chakra, which is the solar plexus, and we'll visualize this stage. So we'll visualize masculine on the left, feminine on the right, rising up. Then we'll move our hand to the heart chakra, and we'll visualize this stage of back to feminine on the left, masculine on the right. Moving the hand to the throat chakra, we'll visualize this stage of masculine on the left, feminine on the right. And then finally, we'll put our hand up on our third eye and we'll visualize the final part of feminine on the left and masculine on the right. So at that,
Sorry,
yeah.
another question. So the right hand stays at the root chakra the whole time?
Yes, the whole time. So it's the left hand that's progressively moving chakra by chakra up as we reach that chakra energetically. But the right hand is staying at the root chakra, so the energy is, the circuit is connecting from the root progressively higher and higher till we get to the third eye. And then at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to take one full breath. We're actually going to do it in 3 breaths. In general, never mind. Don't worry about what I just said. We're going to do it in 3 breaths. So we're going to take a breath in from our root chakra up to our third eye. And as we do that, we're going to see, sense, or feel the serpents coming to life, which might feel like they're moving or writhing. It might feel like just a kind of like vibration in the serpents. It might feel like just a sense of, more energy, more intensity of them kind of glowing, their colors, however you sense it. That's what we're going to do, is breathe in and out and just feel that kind of coming to life. And we're going to do that 3 times, 3 in-breaths. But on the 3rd time when we breathe in, what we're going to do is go into, on the out breath of that 3rd breath, we're going to go into the feminine way for going into the heart. So we're going to breathe. So again, this is review. At this point, we breathe in and see, sense, or feel the serpents activating, and then exhale and again breathe in and see, sense, or feel the serpents activating and exhale. And then 3rd time, breathe in with the same sense of them activating, but then on the exhale, you're going to let yourself start to move. And when you stop, you'll be in the sacred space of the heart. And what I recommend is, as you do that on that 3rd breath, bring your hands to your heart and cross them over your heart. And then from there, we'll take a brief time to feel ourselves in the sacred space of the heart, to ask for light, to sense the vibration. And then we'll go into the inner temple of the heart to let yourself move. And when you come to rest, you'll be in the inner temple of the heart. And at that point, when you get to the inner temple of the heart, what I suggest is that you lower your hands to your asana position for your hands, whatever that is for you. For me, it's usually palms up on my, on the tops of my thighs, close to my knees. And I usually have my thumb and forefinger connected in asana. But whatever your asana position is generally for your hands, then return them at that point. And then what I'm going to suggest is that you spend some time in the inner temple of the heart. And it can be whatever you want to do in the inner temple of the heart. You can talk to your higher self. You can explore. You can, again, meet with someone from and connect with their higher self in your inner temple. So this is your choice. And we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes in the inner temple, and then we'll come back. So that is the process that we're going to be engaging. Does anyone have any questions about all of that? Do we need a break before we go into it? Does anyone need a bathroom break or water or anything? Okay, I saw a waved hand from Rajender, so looks like we're going to take a short break here. And if you don't have your eye shade, this is a good time to go get it.
This is Joanne back.
Thank you. While we're waiting, I wanted to show you, I wore my Eye of Horus pendant that I got in France last year that I really, really love. So it's my sacred jewelry for our activation tonight.
I noticed that. I like that.
Thank you. I really like it too. Okay, looks like we're back.
I have kind of snake-like earring.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of snake jewelry. I really relate to snake energy, and I consider snake one of my power animals too. It came in for me earlier in my life, and I very much identify with it, and I identify with it as part of my priestess background too. And I think this was very much a part of the priestess path, was the activation of the double serpents as part of our etheric practice and our energetic practices, but also as part of our higher sexual practices. So I think many people who feel that connection to the priestess background have a connection to serpent energy. Oh, and I wanted to tell one more story before we begin. Maybe I've told this story before, I'm not sure. But there was a time, quite a few years ago, probably about 15 years ago, where I was studying belly dance. And one of my first belly dance classes, I had a very strong opening. And guidance came through in that opening. And the guidance was that that the belly dance was a way of recording these energy processes that the priests and the priestesses knew and that were important and were really valued in that culture. And so a lot of the snake-like, serpentine-like movements of belly dance have to do with this serpent energy. And you definitely see a lot of serpent images connected with belly dance as well. And I believe it was all part of, the various sacred pathways that this knowledge and these practices were stored through, and were also taught and shared, with and passed on from those who knew them to students, and they were preserved in that way. Okay, so let's begin with getting in your meditation asana and then putting on your eye shade. So, beginning with relaxing your belly, letting your breath drop down into your pelvis, and letting your breathing become rhythmic. Relaxing your shoulders, allowing your chest and heart region to open. Relaxing the back of your neck and your jaw so that your head is balanced on the top of your spine. And relaxing all the muscles of your legs, especially the large muscles at the tops of the legs. So there's a feeling of connection between the soles of your feet and the crown of your head. And then placing your awareness in your heart. And then from your heart, sending love to Mother Earth's heart. At the very center of the earth. And if it supports you, you can place your right hand on your heart as you send love from your heart to Mother Earth's heart. And when you're ready, receive Mother Earth's love back from her heart to your heart. And again, if it supports you, placing your left hand on top of your right hand at your heart to feel the connection of the two circuits. One sending love to Mother Earth from your heart, and one receiving love back from Mother Earth's heart, back to your heart. Let that become strong and full, filling your whole self with Mother Earth's love. Allowing that to continue, shift your focus from your heart to sending love to Father Sky in one of his forms. Perhaps the sun, or our solar system, or galaxy, the Milky Way, or perhaps the great central sun of our universal system. Whatever form you choose, sending love from your heart to Father Sky in that particular form. And then, when that feels strong, receive Father Sky's love back to your heart in the form of light. Let that light become stronger and fuller, filling your whole self with Father Sky's light. And then feel your heart surrounded by Mother Earth's love and Father Sky's light. Feel them both loving you at your heart as the divine child, even as they love each other, and even as you love each of them, forming the Holy Trinity at your heart of Mother Earth, Father Sky, and you as divine child. And then allowing that to continue, move your hands so that your right hand is at your root chakra, and your left hand is over your sacral chakra. And remembering that your sacral chakra is just above the pelvic bone. And with your hands in place, imagining that energy is being sent from your right hand through your sacral chakra up to your left hand and being received in your left hand at your sacral chakra. And as you feel this energy, start to see, sense, or feel the two serpents at your root chakra. The black or silver serpent of the feminine on the left side, and the white or gold masculine serpent on the right side. If they are reversed, tell the masculine serpent to move over to the right side and help him to do so. And then see, sense, or feel these serpents begin to move up to your sacral chakra, with the feminine black silver serpent moving on the left, and the masculine white gold serpent moving on the right until they meet at the sacral chakra. It may be easier to put your awareness primarily on the feminine black silver serpent on the left, and then notice as the masculine white gold serpent on the right simply follows and meets at the sacral chakra. And rest a moment just to feel this pathway in place with the black silver serpent on the left and the white gold serpent on the right. And now move your left hand up to your next chakra, your solar plexus chakra. And now see, sense, or feel the serpents continue to rise. This time the black silver feminine serpent is on the right side, rising from your sacral second chakra to your solar plexus chakra. And the white gold masculine serpent is on the left side, following the feminine up to your solar plexus, where they meet once again at the solar plexus. Feminine black silver on the right, masculine white gold on the left. And take a moment to just see, sense, or feel that. And now move your left hand up to your heart chakra at the center of your chest. You want your hand, your heart chakra is in the center as opposed to your physical heart, which is at the right. So you want your hand right in the center. And now visualize the feminine black silver serpent moving up on the left side to your heart, and the masculine white gold serpent following on the right side. And once again, the two serpents meeting at the heart. And take a moment to just be with that, noticing what you notice, feminine black silver serpent on the left, masculine white gold serpent on the right. And then moving your left hand up to your throat chakra, the center of the throat. And now visualizing your feminine black silver serpent on the right side, moving from your heart to your throat. And the masculine white gold serpent following on the left side until they meet again at the throat chakra. Feminine black silver on the right, masculine white gold on the left. And take a moment to be with that, feeling, seeing, sensing. And then finally move your left hand up to your third eye pineal chakra. And here the double serpents will make their last portion of the pathway with the feminine black silver serpent moving up the left from the throat to the third eye, and the masculine white gold serpent moving up the right from the throat to the third eye. And when they reach the third eye, letting them slightly bow their heads down. Feminine, black silver on the left. Masculine, white gold on the right. And take a moment to be with that. And now we're going to take 3 breaths for activating and bringing our serpents to life in whatever form we experience that. Might be a sense of movement, writhing, vibration, just pure energy, becoming brighter or more full of light, however you experience it. And you're going to breathe from your root chakra, where your right hand is, up the double serpent pathway to your third eye chakra, where your left hand is. And we'll do it 3 times. So breathing in from the root chakra up to the third eye, hold it briefly and allow the serpents to energize, and then exhale. And again, breathing in from the root all the way up to the third eye, and hold the breath, allowing the serpents to energize and come to life, and then exhale. And the third time, we're going to breathe in from the root chakra all the way up to the third eye. Hold the breath slightly, and now what you're going to do is use the feminine pathway as you exhale to move, and when you come to rest, you'll be in the sacred space of the heart. And as you do that, bring your hands down to your heart, one hand over the other, covering your heart chakra. When you're ready, ask for there to be light. And listen for the frequency. And then once again, I invite you to follow the feminine pathway to move. And when you stop, you'll be in the inner temple of the heart. When you arrive, ask for there to be light, and listen or feel the frequency. And now I'm going to leave you here for about 15 minutes, and then I'll come back and let you know when it's time to come back. So now I invite you to gently bring yourself back. Very gently returning. When you're ready, removing your eye shade. And again, you can stay in the inner temple of the heart as long as you're able. And let's just take another minute break here to get something to drink if you want, or just allow yourself to relax and come back. So I would very much love to hear what people experienced. Starting with what you experienced as we were doing the raising the double serpents, starting from the root chakra and chakra by chakra up to the crown chakra. And what you experienced in the activating or bringing the serpents to life. And then if you want to share what occurred for you in your meditation, I would love to hear that too. So whatever you're open to sharing, I would very much value hearing.
This is Joy. For me, I definitely felt some energy in raising the serpents, but it was very subtle, and I think same for activating them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So which was fine for me, frankly, sort of unknown territory. So subtle's good. And then I was able to go into the inner the temple. And pretty much, again, it was just trying to connect to my higher self, and I think it's just just something I need to practice more. It has a feeling, just has that feeling.
Okay. Yeah. And in your case in particular, I have the sense that you having a focus for when you go into the inner temple of the heart might be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Even kind of setting a focus before you start the meditation, whatever you choose for that day, a focus like, oh, I'm going to ask, what's my relationship with the double serpents? That's an example.
Okay.
And have a clear intention, I think might help you.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Who else would like to share?
Hi, so it was hard for me to do the double serpents in the cadence with which you were leading. They want to go fast. So I had to keep pausing and then could feel my pulse beat at each chakra. And then went into the heart and then into the inner temple. Was interesting. My mother was there. So she had a question she asked me. So that was interesting. Or she told me something and then she asked me a question.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then I answered a question and she left. And then I had a little conversation with my husband. And then I was starting with my son when you brought us back. So.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
And definitely when you're doing this on your own, you might have a different rhythm than I do. And that's part of the challenge when I'm leading. And I especially wanted to go slow as a first entryway, so that it hopefully didn't lose anyone. But there is a value in going slower than you might tend to go, because it's really valuable to start to, as you do this over time, and this is going to be our practice this week, our meditation practice is to do this exactly what we did on your own. And as you do it, you're going to, what I imagine you're going to start to experience is that every day you'll notice different things. You'll notice, oh, today it's really hard to get the serpents to go between these two chakras, but this one felt really easy. Or, it felt reversed on these two chakras, but everywhere else, not the case. And you'll start to notice these things, and that's really valuable of part of just getting to know the way your energy body works in general, and also to notice what's going on with you in particular at any particular, point in time. So there is a value to going slow enough that it's at the speed of awareness. And even sometimes slowing it down, I'm just going to rest here and just feel this portion of it is a skill too, rather than, especially if you've done any work with this before, which I'm imagining you may have, Rajendra, I don't know for sure. It might feel really easy to just boom, let it go and let it rise. Like the pathways feel ready and primed. But it is valuable to play with it in different ways and have the ability to slow it down and to really be aware of. So you're not just focused on the end result of, oh, I just want to get there. The goal is to get the energy moving and boom, I'm there. But you want to really be able to experience the full pathway and all the parts to it too. Okay. Jen, would you like to share?
Yeah, my turn. When we were doing our beginning work in the chakras, I had this experience of these two serpents, or this this energy feeling. I think I even expressed it in one of our shares after when we were going through the different chakra work in the beginning. And so I kind of had that, I think, a little bit similar to what Rajendra was saying, and kind of that it wanted to move fast, but having the hand work over the chakra points, over those crossings of the serpents. I just really liked that, the hand, and having the hand, the right hand below. And then this idea, even how we start when we're doing the Mother Earth and Father Sky, that the giving and the receiving, and the right and the left. And because it almost becomes, multidimensional in all the different ways, from the chakra to the earth, to the, I don't know, to Father Sky, to the snakes crossing. So it's all of these different versions of the masculine, feminine in a holographic way, I don't know, or experience, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then when I started talking to my higher self, what's interesting is I thought of my sister-in-law, a sister-in-law who is sick, who she's in Mexico, and she's my sister-in-law from my first marriage, from my oldest boy's father. And I don't stay in touch with her very much. I mean, I just recently, she was diagnosed with cancer. So I don't know, she came into my mind when I went into the inner temple. And then I asked like her higher self if it was okay to send her healing or send her love or send her a blessing. And what's interesting is she said no.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, I didn't expect a no. I don't know. But you know, honoring that. And so I did. I honored that. And then what happened from there was, your voice came clear in the message you had given us before, saying, I just asked a general question, like, to my higher self, well, was there, you know, some kind of message that was important for me now? And it was this idea of the feminine leading and the masculine then following suit, and to practice that more in my life. Yeah, so that's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
And yeah, this principle of the feminine leading is actually very important. It's really an esoteric principle. It has to do with our incarnating in 3D, that we came here as to explore this pathway that we experience in 3D, which is that the feminine is a way of bringing the masculine into form, into embodiment, into a way that in 3D is easier for us to work with. And so it's one of the reasons why so many people are more connected to the physical than they are to other aspects and to the, you know, pure light, in a way, is because that's the nature of this realm. And so it's natural for us to make use of that and to make use of the feminine leading. But it's this leading through understanding the principles of love, the principles of inherent love and attraction between the masculine and feminine. So when the feminine leads, it's leading in a way that's inviting the masculine in to join and to follow. And it's unique in this realm, in that when the masculine leads, it's not necessarily inclusive of the feminine, but the feminine is always inclusive of the masculine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, and you put it so perfectly, because that's the feeling that I got of this leading, and then I think I said, well, how will I know where to go, or something like that, like, okay, well, I'm leading, but where am I taking us? and it said, well, you will already know, because the more that you're in your heart, you will know, and then you'll be surrounded by love, and everybody will be surrounded by love. I guess that's.
And ultimately, the feminine is following consciousness. So the feminine is following the masculine.
Right. That's funny. So there was one other interesting thing. And then after that, I was just kind of in this stillness, and then I had my hands, you know, in the asana position, just resting on my legs. But then I kept on getting this feeling of a baby in my arms, just this like precious baby. I just thought that was so interesting that that's kind of how it all ended, was this, I don't know, this baby.
That's beautiful. You may want to work with that more during the week. That's beautiful. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a new creation or what it is, but it just was this precious little gift and was resting there. So
Wonderful. Wow, that sounds really rich. So yes, and I wanted to say one other thing about using our hands, that for me, that is really, really helpful. And it has to do with how we connect. You could say how we process information, but it's really about how we connect. And some people are more kinesthetic. And so for people who tend to be more kinesthetic, this can be very direct. Some people are more visual or more auditory. So this may not even support them as much, or even may be a hindrance for those kinds of people. So it's always to find what's right for you and what supports you. But I know for me, it really makes a difference and makes it so easy. And it's part of following the feminine too. In traditional meditation, it's very masculine oriented, which tends to be oriented towards awareness, pure awareness, and not even making use necessarily of visualization. But visualization is the most on the spectrum towards more the masculine, whereas kinesthetic is, and the physical is much more the feminine, as is energy and following energy. So again, we're kind of following the feminine when we're making use of our physical. And it's kind of one of the ways we're doing it differently. You could say kind of bucking the system, the masculine system that says, oh, that's not meditation. You know, you're not supposed to use your hands when you meditate or whatever. But this is the feminine form, and it's using everything available to us that makes sense, that supports us, whatever that is. So I wanted to add one more thing about this pathway that is really important to me, that I meant to say at the beginning and I forgot when I was just giving general information about the double serpents, which is that I find it to be extremely balancing at an energetic level, this practice. And so if you're ever feeling that you're out of balance for some reason, maybe you're tired and you feel out of balance, or maybe you're sick, or maybe you're emotional, or maybe you have some alcohol or drugs in your system and you feel like that's imbalancing you, whatever might be going on, I find that when I use this practice, it's so balancing for me. And so that's definitely one of the side benefits, is that I feel better when I use this practice. It really changes my energetic what's going on in my energy system and the way I feel energetically. So that's another wonderful part of this. So I want to move into the recommended practices for this week. So let me go back to our slides. So what I suggest for your meditation practice this week is to do what we did. And this is basically a summary of what we did when I was guiding you, where we first connected with Mother Earth, Father Sky, Divine Child. And then number 2, we did the double serpent activation with our hands, right hand at the root chakra and left hand first at the sacral chakra and then progressively at each higher chakra. And seeing, sensing, or feeling the serpents moving up and crossing at the chakras, and hopefully, and being aware of which serpent is on which side, and keeping that awareness so that you add that in as, you know, part of that you're anchoring in, you know, oh, now the feminine's on the left, now the feminine's on the right, and the masculine, the counterbalance. And you repeat that all the way up to your third eye, and then and what I suggest as you practice is you can do anywhere from 1 breath to 3 breaths, whatever you feel moved to. So you can do just 1 breath to activate the serpents and then go right in there into the sacred space of the heart using the feminine path, or you can do 2 breaths or 3 breaths, whatever feels right to you. But then on the final breath of however many you choose, using the feminine pathway and going into the sacred space of the heart. So that's number 4 here. And at that point, you bring both your hands to your heart and then asking for light, sensing the frequency. And when you're ready, using the feminine pathway to move into the inner temple of the heart, which is number 5. And at that point, returning your hands to your asana position, and then continuing in the inner temple of the heart in whatever way you want. And again, you can bring, as I was saying to Joy, you can bring a particular intention. If there's something you want help with, the inner temple of the heart is especially for guidance. So if there's something you're wanting guidance or more information about, it's a wonderful place. Or meeting other beings in their higher self, as some of you did, it sounded wonderful. So any and all of that is highly encouraged. And then the weekly practice is just to keep your awareness on these double serpents as much as you're able throughout the week, and just notice what you experience. And then when you have your meeting with your buddy, to share your experiences with them.
Hi, this is Rajendra. Would you explain, please, the significance of keeping the serpents on whichever side?
Well, it's the way the pathway runs. And so it's part of, it is possible for the serpents to get reversed. And so part of our intention here is to have them running in this polarized way that's our natural masculine feminine way towards creating the balance that we want, and towards creating the safety that we want of this pathway for the Kundalini moving through, the Kundalini energy. So I feel like it's actually important that you're guiding this energy pathway, and you're guiding the raising of the energy in this particular form of them in these positions at each of the chakras. Is that answering your question?
Yeah, I had never heard anything about that it was significant in that way. That's why I was wondering what the significance about it was.
Yeah, there are advanced practices where you can do different things with these pathways, and you might choose to the way the energy is moving. But this is the foundation basic practice. And so I think it's really valuable to anchor in foundation practice, and again, to be sure that they're running on these balanced sides. And like I said, I find lots of times mine at the base are reversed, and I have to really bring my awareness to, okay, you over there, you over here, and okay, here we go, and then they're fine. And also at different times, as I said before, you'll find that, you know, sometimes this part of the pathway feels really open and easy, and this part of the pathway there's resistance. And that's part of balancing our whole self and making sure that our energy system and our chakra systems are balanced and all flowing. Okay. So that's why to bring the awareness to each of the parts.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. This is part of our masculine side, our more disciplined side, because the feminine side will tend to just run with the energy and let it just go. And the masculine is like, no, we want it to run in this particular way. And, you know, with this particular, is very intentional and clear. So that's part of the balance too, is to bring both of those, where we're opening and allowing the energy to flow, but we're also doing it in a very clear, specific way.
I have a quick question on, in my experience right now, I think you had said to focus on the black, on that feminine path. Like I could feel both, but I definitely focused more on the one serpent. I don't know, it just was easier.
It is easier.
I could sense both, but I couldn't do both at the same time. It was kind of like learning a new move.
This kind of thing, rubbing your, yeah, right. Yeah, and over time they'll just start to move in tandem as you do that. And that's part of the discipline too that we're bringing to this, is for them to be really balanced and moving together. But in the beginning, what I have found is that oftentimes if you just focus on the feminine, you just go to the next chakra and then pause there while that's in place, and then open the space for the masculine to come in, and then hold the awareness of both, and then focus on the feminine moving to the next chakra, and then pause there and allow the masculine to come in and feel both. So you can break it down that way and it makes it easier. But as you do it more and more, they'll just become simultaneous. And for me, I still am focusing on leading with the feminine, but the masculine is doing it at the same time, and they're in sync with each other. It took me a long time to learn this, that the secret was to work with the feminine. I used to try to work with both simultaneously. So you're getting the benefit of my doing this for a long time and realizing, oh, there's an easier way. So I'm really happy to share that. Any other questions about this? All righty. Well, then I think we're ready for today. And next week will be our final meeting of this second module that we're on. Again, the first module was the foundation chakras. The second module is all the work we've been doing around the heart and opening the heart and things related to that. And what we'll be doing next week in our final meeting is activating our angel wings, which are connected to our heart. And then we'll have a month break for, well, slightly more for through June. For practicing all these things. And then we'll come back in July and we'll be then starting to connect our heart and our higher mind centers and working with the third eye and pineal chakra. And eventually moving into activating our Merkaba and accessing the fourth dimension. So that's a little preview, but this is, we're at the, moving into the completion of this phase. And I definitely encourage you during the break to keep working with this and to also stay in touch with your practice buddies. And I hope that everybody will show up for our meeting next time so that we get this feeling of connection before we take a little break and then come back. So, and then also just as a reminder, when we start up in July, we're going to we change those first two meeting times. So we're going to be meeting, I believe it's July 1st and the 15th on it'll be Saturday morning for Pacific time. It'll be 9 a.m. or noon Eastern time and on into Europe in the later early evening, I think. So just a reminder about that because I will still be traveling until then. So that's all the announcements. And with that, I invite everybody to unmute yourself and we can share a goodbye for now.
Great. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.